Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's hearing. We're going to continue hearing evidence from those who were inside the tower at the time of the fire, in particular flat 113. Yes, Mr. Rowett.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. May I call Omar Alhaj Ali?
Thank you.
I swear by Allah
I swear by Allah
that the evidence I shall give
that the evidence I shall give
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Thank you very much. Do sit down and make yourself comfortable. Yes, Mr. Rowett.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you.
Can you give the inquiry your full name, please?
It's Omar Alhaj Ali.
So, Alhaj Ali, thank you very much for coming to give evidence today. It's very much appreciated. As you, I hope, already know, the majority of my questions are going to focus on the night of the fire. If you need a break at any time, please let me know and we will stop. I'm going to try and keep my questions short and straightforward, but if I do ask you a question that you don't understand, then please don't hesitate to tell me, and I'll try and put the question in a different way. The first thing we need to do is to formally put your statements to the inquiry into the record, and can we please have IWS 50781, please? If I explain, this is the first page of your statement to the inquiry. As we go through your evidence, it'll come up on the screen that's in front of you, but if you're more comfortable with paper, you should find a file that's in front of you that has that statement at tab 1. Can we go to page 17 of the statement, please? We can see there at the bottom that there's the date, the 27th of June 2018, and a signature. Can you confirm that that is your signature?
It is.
Have you had an opportunity to go through the statement recently?
Yes, I did.
Can you confirm that the contents of the statement are true?
In the best of my memory, it is, yes. Where in some places, just I wasn't sure about the location at flat 113, where it was the living room or the bedroom. Yeah.
Well, we will come to events in flat 113 in due course, and when we do, I'll clarify with you what your recollection is of where you were at a particular point in time.
All right.
Thank you. There's one exhibit to that statement, and we need to put that in the record. It's your exhibit OM1, which is at IWS 780. So Alhaji, you also made a second witness statement to the inquiry. And can we have that up on the screen now, please? It's IWS 401052. That's the first page of that second statement. If we go to page 4, please. Again, whilst it's not dated, it does have a signature. Can you confirm that that is your signature?
It is, yes.
And are the contents of that second witness statement true?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, there are no exhibits to the supplementary statement. We just begin, please, with a little bit of background. In June 2017, it's right, isn't it, that you were living in flat 112 on the 14th floor of Grenfell Tower?
Yes.
And when did you move into that flat?
5th of September 2000, I think 17, 2000, yeah, 2000, I think 2017. So it's actually a year before the fire.
Yes.
So I'll say
So
2016.
September 2016?
16, so yes.
Thank you. But in June 2017, who were you sharing the flat with?
With my brother Mohammed and my friend Mahmoud Al-Karad.
Thank you. And is it right that you and Mohammed also had a brother, Hashem, who was living in London?
He was living in London with his friends, yeah.
Can we go just to page 3 of your first statement, please? So IWS 7813. And just pick it up at paragraph 8. What were your relations like with your neighbours on floor 14 before the night of the fire?
Actually, I didn't know them that much. I used to say hi to them if I see them next to my flat or in the lifts. So yeah, I just knew my neighbor who they are on the same floor. Yeah.
And did you know their names?
No, that time, no, I didn't. Yeah.
But you knew them to recognise them as people who lived on the same floor?
Yeah, because we lived on the same floor, yeah.
Could we look at your exhibit to that statement? If we go to IWS 780, page 2. Now, this is the plan of your home, flat 112, is that right?
Yes.
And there's quite a few numbers on it, but
Yeah.
If we look in the bottom left-hand corner, I think that's where the 2 bedrooms were.
Mm-hmm.
And one bedroom had two beds in it, and the other one had one bed in it. Is that right?
Yes.
And who had which bedroom in June 2017?
So I had the bedroom with the double bed.
Do you want,
Shall
if
I
you want to
point
stand up?
Yes, do.
This is the one I had. My brother was in this room.
So you were in the bedroom marked 2, and your brother and Mahmoud Al-Karad were in the bedroom marked 1.
Yeah.
We see that you put some crosses on the plan. Is that to mark walls that weren't actually there?
Yeah. So the kitchen, it was open plan, so we didn't have any wall here.
Mm-hmm.
And this one we didn't have it. And I think it's the same for here as well. We just had a cabinet here, so yeah.
So particularly in terms of the kitchen and the lounge,
Yeah.
it was all open, was it?
It was all open to the living room.
So there wasn't even a sliding door between the kitchen
No,
and the
nothing.
lounge. Thank you. Could I just take you back to page 1 of your first statement to the inquiry? And just take a look at paragraph 3, please, if that could be expanded. In that paragraph, you discuss problems with windows on the northeast side of the flat, which had air coming through. We can go back to your plan if you need to, but which windows are you referring to?
The one in the living room. Shall I point to that? Or
Yes,
is-
well, let's go back to your plan. Sorry, IWS 780, page 2, please.
So it was one of them here in the living room, I think, and the other one, the kitchen one.
And that's on the windows on the northeast side of the flat, is that right?
I'm not sure I'll take that direction, but yeah, it's these 2 windows.
I think we can see at the very top there, there's the symbol N at the top with an arrow pointing north, so that may help you. So And what you say is they had air coming through. There were tiny spaces around the outside of the window, which meant that even when the windows were closed, air still came inside and you could hear the wind blow. But what you also say is that someone then came to fix the window in the living room. What about the other window, the kitchen window?
I think because I wasn't at home that time when he came, so my brother told me, but I think he tried to fix both of them. It wasn't 100% fixed. So it was better than before, but not 100% for both of them. Yeah.
So, taking you then to June 2017,
Yeah.
did you still notice air coming through these two windows?
Yes.
Was there particular times when you would
Especially
notice
when
that?
it's windy. When it's windy outside, we could hear it and we could feel it. Yeah.
Taking each window in turn, if we start with the kitchen window, was the air coming in at a particular point?
It's just a little bit, not that much, but we could hear the voice because it was a tiny space or a gap, I think. Yeah.
But did it come through on a particular part of the window?
Yes, it's the outside of the window. That's the small gap, when you close the window on the outside of the window.
So is that the frame of the window?
The frames, yeah, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what about the living room window? Where
It's
was the air?
same place, yeah.
So
It's on the left side. If you're standing on the opposite of the window, it's on the left side. So the side of the window, yeah.
thank you. I'd like now just to show you a photograph which was taken of the interior of the inside the tower and after the fire. But, Mr. Chairman, it's a photograph of the fire safety notice, and we've seen that a number of times.
Not particularly disturbing.
Not at all, I think. Could we have, please, BLA 402416, please? Mr. Alhaj Ali, if I could just explain to you, this is a photograph of a fire safety notice which was cited at the lifts on floor 3.
Mm-hmm.
Before June 2017, do you remember seeing a notice like this near the lifts on your floor?
No, I didn't see it.
Do you remember seeing a notice like this between the lifts on the ground floor?
No.
So, in June 2017, what was your understanding of what you, as someone living in the tower, should do if there was a fire there?
I didn't have any idea that time.
Could I now please take you just to the events of the night themselves? And I'll take you back to page 4 of your statement. And could we just expand paragraphs 12 to 13? In these paragraphs, I won't read them out, but you explain that on the evening of the 13th of June, you and your brother spent that evening with friends and family. Is that right?
Yes.
And your cousin Assem drove you both back to the tower, and you estimate, and this is in paragraph 13, that you got back between 11 and 11:30 at night.
Yes.
When you got back that evening, can you remember if the lights were on in the communal area on your floor?
It was, yes.
I want to show you again an image taken, it's a photograph taken inside the tower after the fire. Again, Mr. Chairman, it's one we've seen before and not particularly distressing. But
Very well, yes.
could we have, please, BLA 402514? And can you see, we can expand it for you if you need it, Mr. Alhaj Ali, but can you see, we can see obviously the lifts on the right side, and then there's a cupboard opposite the lifts. Can you see that there are light fixtures in the ceiling?
Yes, I could see that time.
Now, this is a photograph taken on floor 6, but do you remember seeing lights like that in the ceiling of floor 14?
You mean before?
Before the fire?
Yes, I did.
If we look at the cupboard door, there's a blue panel. I wonder if we could just expand that a little bit. Just a blue a circular plaque on the cupboard door. Now, it's floor 6, and if you look, there's an arrow. There's 2 arrows pointing in opposite directions, and the top arrow points the directions for flat 31, 32, and 33. If we just go back to the image itself, if we took that to floor 14, where you lived, that arrow would say flat 111, 112, and 113, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah, but I don't remember seeing it. Yeah.
But if someone were on floor 14 were coming out of the lifts and the lifts were on the right side as we see them, where would your flat door be, or which direction would someone go to get to your flat door?
If you are leaving the lift, it will be on the right side. Yeah.
So, looking at that photograph, does that help you to how close your flat door would have been?
I think if I'm leaving the lift from here, so my flat would be this one. Yeah.
So is it just round the corner of that wall that we can see on the left-hand side? And to get to your flat door, would you have to go past the door to the stairwell?
Sorry, again,
if I'm coming out of the lift and I'm going to your flat, in the direction that you've pointed, so that's towards those grills that we can see, would I walk past? Can you remember, would I have to walk past the door to the stairwell?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back then to your statement, your first statement, page 4. And just pick it up at the bottom, paragraph 14, please. You explained in your statement, Mr. Alhaj Ali, that you didn't go to sleep straight away, and you say there that you were speaking to a friend on the phone, and at about 1 a.m. in the morning, you heard sounds, and you in fact got up and checked out of your bedroom window, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You've given the time of at about 1 a.m. What do you base the time on?
Because I was using my phone, so I think that I checked the time that night. Yeah.
If we go to the next page, please, and look at paragraph 15. What you say is that having checked out of your window, you went back to your bed, but then if we pick it up, paragraph 15, you say, after 10 minutes I heard people shouting, and then your brother Muhammad came into your room and told you that he could smell smoke. Mm-hmm. Did Muhammad tell you where he could smell the smoke?
He didn't tell me where, but maybe because he was closer to the front door, so he could smell the smoke before than me.
Could you smell smoke yourself at that time?
When he told me, and then I went to the corridor, I started to smell it.
So in your bedroom there wasn't any smoke?
No, in my bedroom I didn't at the beginning.
What you tell us is that you went to the living room kitchen area, which we've seen on your plan was open plan, and you looked out of the windows. Could I just go back to your plan then, IWS 780, page 2. You're in the bedroom marked 2,
Yeah.
and you would have gone then to the living room kitchen area.
Yes.
Which windows did you look out of?
We started to look from this window here. Actually everywhere, but when we started to see the fire, everywhere, all the windows. But then when we saw the fire, it was from this window.
So that's the most northeasterly window in the living room, and on the plan it's the window next to the number 12, the circled number 12.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us, when you looked out of the windows, what did you see?
I saw flames coming from the left side of the window on the bottom. So nearly the 4th or 5th floor maybe. Yeah.
So you're standing at that window, which is next to the circled number 12.
Yeah.
And when you looked out?
When I looked out, was on my left side on the bottom of the tower. So yeah, my left.
And how were you able to estimate what floor you could see fire
I
on?
tried to estimate that time by looking at the flames. So it was maybe 7 or 8 floors under me. Yeah.
So some 7 or 8 floors below you.
Below me, yeah.
And in terms of what you were actually seeing, can you describe the flames that you saw?
I remember it was light, blue and green color, red sometimes. So it wasn't clear, just red color. Yeah.
And did the flames that you see appear to be on the outside of the tower or coming from inside out into the exterior?
That time I saw it was outside. I'm not sure if it was coming from inside, but yeah, I saw it was outside.
Now, in your statement, what you say is that you could smell smoke at this time. Were any of your windows open at this time?
At that time, no, but we opened it to check them. Yeah.
So in order to see, you had to open your window?
Yes.
I follow. And can you describe what the smell was like?
I smelled little bit smoke, not that much at the beginning. So yeah.
But can you describe the smell at all?
I knew that time it's a fire smell, so actually I don't remember what kind of smell it was. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, let's go back to your statement, please. And we'll look at page 5. So IWS 7815 and paragraph 16, please. You begin the paragraph by saying that as you and your brother were standing at the window looking out, we agreed that we needed to leave the tower immediately. Why did you come to that decision?
Because we saw a fire, so that time we just thought that we had to leave before the fire came to us.
At that time, were you aware of any firefighters being outside the building or any emergency vehicles outside the building?
Yes, I've seen some firefighters just next to the main door of the tower, main entrance.
Main entrance of the tower, thank you. And what you then did was that you went to the front door and you say there was smoke coming from the bottom of the front door. Now, what you've given the time there is that it's about 1:15 a.m. How do you estimate that time?
I think because it didn't take us longer than that time between we heard the fire and trying to leave the flat. Yeah, so roundly 15 minutes maximum.
And before we continue, can you just describe what the front door of your flat was like?
Wooden door. It was new, I think, because the owner, he refurbished the flat. So that's all what I know about it, actually. Yeah.
Do you remember if the door had a letterbox in it?
I think it had, yes. I'm not really sure about it. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think it had.
Did it have any glass panes in it?
No.
You described in this paragraph opening the front door, and you say the communal area was dark, full of smoke, and complete darkness. You could only see your hand a little bit. I could not see the lifts or the staircase. I would say it was 80% dark. Could you tell if there were any lights on in the communal area?
I couldn't tell because it was dark, so I don't think I saw a light that time. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what the smoke that you saw looked like?
It was thick, but not 100%. So it was very dark when I opened the door. We couldn't see and we could smell it. So it was very scary. And then we closed the door straight away.
And what did it? Can you describe the smell?
Actually, that time, like if you breathe it, you will not. I don't know. We stopped breathing when we started to smell the smoke. So it was thick, I think. Yeah.
So
and it was everywhere in the communal area. So we couldn't see. It was very dark everywhere. Yeah.
And did you get a sense of taking it from the floor to the ceiling? Did you get any sense of how much smoke there was from floor to ceiling?
No, but it was dark everywhere. Yeah.
And what about the temperature on the communal area at that time?
It wasn't that hot, but when we opened the door, we could feel a little bit warm. Yeah, but not like inside the flat. Yeah.
So was it warmer in the communal area than in your flat?
Yes, it is.
What you then say in your statement was that you and your brother then went into the living room, opened two windows on the southeast corner, and you started shouting for help.
Yeah.
And Muhammad was also shouting for help from the living room windows facing south. So at that time, were you opening the windows to call out to people?
Yes, to call out.
Did anyone call back or respond to your shouts?
At the beginning, no. No one even said anything to us. But later on, they said, yeah. They said, stay where you are, we are coming.
Now, you say they said.
Yeah.
Who was they?
A group of firefighters, but I heard one of them, maybe, or two maximum, saying that. Yeah.
And when you heard that, being told to stay in your flat, did that affect what you decided to do?
I felt much better. I felt that they will be coming. Yeah.
If we go then to IWS 781, page 6, please. Just look at paragraph 18. Thank you. You say that Mohammed and I started to run around the rooms in the flat to look out of the windows to see how far the fire was spreading and how quickly it was spreading. The only window where we could see the fire from was the window in the living room kitchen area on the east side of the tower. Just so that we can be clear, and I'll go back to your plan. Mm-hmm. You've told us that it's open plan, but was this window effectively the kitchen window that you were able to see?
The window that
You say that the only window that you could see the fire from was the window in the living room kitchen area on the east side of the tower.
Yeah.
Was that the window that would have been in the kitchen?
I think it was in the middle between the living room and the kitchen. Yeah.
Let's check it with your plan, please. IWS 780, page 2. So we've got the kitchen marked 10, and that's got a window looking east. And then as we move through into the lounge, we've got another window which is, and the number 12 is circled next to that window.
Yes.
Which window was it that you could see the fire from at this time?
Number 12.
And can you describe what you were able to see from that window?
Just a fire spreading to the top, like going up. Yeah.
And you told us a few moments ago that when you first looked out, your estimate was that it was 7 or 8 floors below.
Yeah.
Had the level at which you could see the fire changed at all?
It changed. It was going up. Yeah.
And how much closer was it to you now?
Maybe 4 or 5 floors below than me, but on the other side, so the left side of
So
the
again,
window.
it was still on the left side as you looked out?
Yes.
But now, rather than 7 or 8 floors, 4 or 5 below?
Yes.
I'll take you to your statement if you need to see it, but what you also describe is seeing a firefighter on a crane using a hose.
Yeah.
And in the same paragraph, you say that you saw that things were falling. Can you describe what you could see falling, please?
What could I see, sorry?
What could you see from... You say
Yeah.
things were falling and we could smell the fire.
Yeah.
What is it that you could see falling?
Yeah. I think it was... I saw parts of the tower was falling, like... and the fire was spreading very quickly to the top. And I saw the firefighter. He was on the crane, just trying to put the water everywhere, on the top and down, right, left, everywhere. Yeah.
How large were the objects that you could see falling?
At the beginning, it was a little bit, but then I started to see more things like falling from, the left side of the tower.
And were they falling from a point still below you?
At the beginning it was, but then it was on the top of me.
What you also say is that you could smell the fire. Can you describe the smell, please?
The smell, it was, I think, coming from our main door, from the bottom of the door. So it was okay at the beginning, but then it started to be thicker. Yeah.
Right, well, I'll come back to the main door if I may, but I think you're on the opposite side of the flat, aren't you? Because you're in the kitchen and the lounge at this time. So placing yourself and your brother in the kitchen lounge area, was there anything coming into your flat from that side? Any smoke coming into your flat through the windows of the living room or the kitchen?
I don't think it was coming from the window at the beginning, no, because it was a bit windy that time, so we couldn't smell it if we look out from the window. Yeah.
Let's go back then to your statement. And can I take you to IWS 781, page 7, please? And let's just expand, first of all, paragraph 20. You've already told us that when you started shouting, firefighters shouted back to you and told you to stay. if we pick it up at paragraph 20, you said that you continued to shout down to the firefighters and the people on the ground asking for help. We were shouting, "Help, we need to leave." The firefighters next to the main entrance shouted up to us and told us to stop shouting, and they told us they were coming up to help us. So was this a second occasion when firefighters shouted up to you?
It was the second time, yeah.
And what did you understand by them telling you that they were coming up to help you?
That time I said to myself, maybe they are doing something or fixing something in the stairs or putting down a fire, and they will come soon to us. And they knew that we are in the flat, so we stopped shouting that time because they saw us. Yeah.
Let's look, please, at the next paragraph on that page, paragraph 21. I'm going to just ask you some questions about parts of this paragraph. But one of the things you say in that is that I think we opened the door again before 2 a.m. Do you remember why you decided to open the front door?
To check again if it's easier to leave now or still dark.
And you described the smoke as thicker than before. Was there more smoke in some parts of the communal area than others?
It was, no, it was everywhere actually. Very smoky and very dark, darker than before. Yeah.
Did some of the smoke come into your...
Yes, when we opened the door, the smoke started to come inside, so we closed the door straight away.
And were the lights on in your hallway at the time?
Yes, in my hallway, yes.
Did you or your brother step out into the communal hallway at all?
No, just next to our door. Yeah.
What was the temperature like in the communal area at this time?
When we opened the door, we could feel it from the smoke. We could feel it was warmer than before.
And when you say warmer than before, was that warmer than it had been in the communal area when you first opened the door?
When I first opened the door, yes.
Using the temperature in your flat as a comparison, how much warmer was it?
40 or 50%, I would say. Yeah. I think feeling the smoke, we could see that, we could feel that it was hot. Yeah, hotter than before.
You say in that paragraph that it was difficult to see anything. How far could you see through the smoke?
I think you just... we couldn't see actually anything. Maybe you can see your hand if you put it in front of you only, but any other things, no. Mm.
And in terms of a distance, how far away would you
I would
have
say
your
just this size, to see my hand only.
You could see your hand if it were an arm's length away,
Yes.
but no more.
No more, no.
And just so that we can be clear about the sequence of events, you go on, and I'm going to ask you about this in a moment, but that at about 2 a.m. a firefighter came and knocked on your front door. So had you opened your front door to look out before the firefighter arrived?
It was only 2 times we opened the door to check, so yeah.
But how soon before the firefighter came and knocked on your front door had you opened the front door to look out?
I'm not sure about how long it was, but not that long since we opened the door until he came. Yeah.
So are you able to estimate how much time passed between your opening the front door with your brother and then the firefighter coming and knocking on your door?
Not sure, but I would say maybe 20 minutes, maybe.
going now to the firefighter, did you hear anything outside the door before there was a knocking on your front door?
No.
And at the time when the firefighter arrived in your flat and knocked on the door, what were the conditions like in your flat at that time?
A little bit smoky in the corridor area, exactly, and just next to the front door. Yeah.
But other than that, the rest of the flat was
The
free of
rest of-
smoke, was it?
Yes, it was.
You say that the firefighter came inside and closed the door behind him. He was wearing his mask and breathing equipment. Did the firefighter keep the mask on while in your flat?
I think the first time when he came, he kept it, but at the second time he removed it. Yeah.
Well, we'll come back to that second occasion in a moment.
Yeah.
What you say in your statement is that the firefighter was a white male with an English accent.
Yeah.
If he kept his mask on, what was it that made you say he was a white male?
I think I could see his maybe eyes or a little bit of his face, and I wasn't sure if the same person came again, but the second time when he removed his equipment, I could see that.
With this firefighter, you asked him, he told you to stay here, your flat is safe, stay here and we'll come again. You asked him if you could leave, but you also took him, I think, to see a fire from the window in the kitchen living room area. Is that right?
Yes.
And is that the same window that we were looking at earlier?
Next to number 12, yes.
So the window marked 12. Now,
Yes.
when you took the firefighter to that window, can you remember what was going on with the fire at that time?
Yeah, it was spreading very quickly, going to the top and then moving to the top of my window. So going up, then moving on the top of my window. Yeah. And coming very quickly to our window. Yeah.
So if we take that in stages,
Yeah.
Did you actually look out of the window
Yes, we did.
itself?
Yeah.
And when you say that it was coming to the top of your window, do you mean that the fire was at your floor?
No, on the top, I mean higher, like maybe 5 floors higher, or on the top of the tower also. Yeah.
So whereas before the fire had been lower,
Yes.
now it was above you
above, yeah.
and a few floors above you.
Yes.
Did you have any windows in the living room, kitchen area open at that time, or did you just open the window to look out?
The kitchen one, it was closed. It was hard to see from the kitchen because it was a bit narrow there. Yeah. But if we opened it, we could see the fire, but we didn't. Yeah, because we could see from the number 12 window.
Now you're in the lounge kitchen area at this time with the firefighter. Was any smoke coming into your flat from that side?
From the window, no.
As I mentioned, you tell us what the firefighter told you, which was to stay in your flat. Did the firefighter tell you why you could not leave the flat?
No. I asked him why, and he didn't reply to me. So he said, just stay where you are and we'll come back. But I could see that time he didn't know. So when I showed him the fire, he wanted to see it because he didn't know that the fire is closed or not. So he wanted to see, to check if it's closed or not. Yeah.
So tell us what makes you think that the firefighter didn't know about?
Because he was wondering, he was asking me, like, where? Show me, where is the fire? And I had to go with him to the window and show him the fire. And he was very quiet. He didn't say anything that time. I said, okay.
Let's go to the next page, please, page 8. And again, expand paragraph 21. If we look at the last 3 sentences, you say that the firefighter opened the front door, more smoke entered the flat into the hallway from the communal area outside. The smoke which came into our flat then set the smoke alarm off. Mohammed and I got some blankets, we put them against the front door to stop the smoke coming in under it. The smoke alarm that was set off, where was that alarm?
It was on the corridor, just opposite of my room. Number 2. Room number 2, opposite of that. Yeah.
So, and bedroom number 2 is the one with the
Double.
with the double bed, but
Yes.
and that's the one that you were sleeping in at the time.
Yes.
Was that the first time that the alarm had gone off that night?
Yeah.
Did putting blankets against the front door stop smoke coming in?
I stopped, but not 100%. Much better than before, but not perfect.
If we go on the same page, please, to paragraph 22. What you say is that after approximately 10 minutes, the firefighter came back to the flat. Now, taking that time, how clear are you in your mind that it was about 10 minutes between the 2 visits by the firefighter?
Because it wasn't that long since he came back again, since the first time and the second time. So I estimated that by maximum 15 minutes. Yeah.
You say there was a group of firefighters. Did you see other firefighters?
Yeah, I think I saw behind him a group of firefighters were walking on the floor.
Were they in the communal area?
Communal area, yeah.
And you've told us that it was dark in the communal area. How were you able to see these firefighters?
When they came to our floor, to the communal area, it was better than before, actually. Not sure why, maybe because they had lights or I don't know the reason, but it was better than before.
So
the smoke was less than before. Yeah.
And so could you see a bit further into the communal area?
Yes.
When you say there was a group of firefighters, do you remember how many firefighters you saw?
No, I don't remember how many.
Now, the firefighter brought one of your neighbours, Dennis Murphy, into your flat. What physical condition was Dennis Murphy in at that time?
Very bad condition. He had lots of smoke. He inhaled lots of smoke, and I could see his face as well. He has lots of smoke on his face, and he wasn't breathing very well.
Was Mr. Murphy able to speak to you or your brother at all?
He was very calm, quiet. He didn't speak or he didn't say anything.
And how did the firefighter get into your flat with Dennis Murphy?
They knocked the door again. We opened the door to them, and they brought Dennis Murphy. Yeah.
And was it only one firefighter that came in with Mr. Murphy?
With him, yes, only one. And behind him, I think there are many. Behind him, I've seen many firefighters, but only him who came into the flat with him. Only one.
And at that time, where did the firefighter come? How far did the firefighter come into the flat?
Just next to the door. Yeah, I think, just next to the door.
On that occasion, was it on that second occasion that the firefighter removed the mask?
I think it was when he brought Dennis, that time when he removed his mask. So, and because we couldn't hear him very well, and we were asking him questions, so he said, stay here. He removed it because we couldn't hear. He removed his mask and he started to speak to us, saying to us to stay. Yeah.
So is the sequence of events that there was a knock on the door,
Yeah.
firefighter brought Dennis in,
Mm-hmm.
was the door then closed?
Yeah, he closed it behind him.
And then he took off his mask and spoke to you?
Yes.
And can we just help us with, can you, as best as you can, tell us what the firefighter said to you?
He said, your flat is safe. Leave this man with you and we will come back to you. I started to ask him, but can you see him? He had smoke inhalation, means the smoke is in his flat, which is very close to us. He said, okay, don't worry, your flat's still safe. It's the best corner, so stay here. I don't know, I was just shocked or surprised, and I think that time when I asked, okay, do you have any masks for us? And he said, no, we don't have, they've been used.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch your last answer.
Yeah, he said, I asked him if you have any masks for us so we can leave. He said, no, we don't have, they have been used.
Did the firefighter tell you where to go to a particular part of your flat?
I think, I don't remember, but maybe he was saying to stay in the bedroom, not in the living room. Yeah.
And the flat has 2 bedrooms. Was he indicating
So
a
he
particular
meant
bedroom?
the one with 2 beds, number 1.
So that's the bedroom that your brother occupied?
Yes.
At that time, when the firefighter brought Dennis Murphy into your flat, what were the conditions like in your flat?
It was still a bit smoky in the corridor area, but better than before, not like before. Yeah.
If we look, please, at paragraph 23. Just on the bottom of that page. Now, in this paragraph, you're dealing with the move into flat 113. And you begin it that you say that it's approximately another 10 minutes had passed and a firefighter came back and came into your flat. Again, how sure or how certain are you of the time that had passed?
Again, because I felt it wasn't more than 15 minutes maximum, so I said maybe 10 minutes. Yeah.
And when the firefighter came back into flat 112, where were you, Dennis Murphy, and your brother?
I don't remember where Dennis Murphy was, but me and my brother, we were speaking to him next to our door. But I think he was close to us, not far. Yeah.
But before the firefighter came back, had you followed the advice and gone into the bedroom?
Yes. For the first time, we had to go to the living room just to wash Dennis Murphy's face and give him some water, and then we came back to the bedroom.
Again, just help us with this. How did the firefighter get into your flat?
They knocked the door again.
And so was it the case that when they knocked, you and
We
your
could
brother
hear
let
that.
the firefighter in?
Yes.
And did you have a conversation with the firefighter by the front door?
Yes.
Can you describe the firefighter at all?
I think with British accent, tall, blonde. That's why I remembered. Yeah.
Was the firefighter wearing a face mask?
Yes.
And did the firefighter take the face mask off?
Not sure exactly when he took it off. Maybe at the time when he brought Dennis, or at the time when he wanted to tell us to move to 113.
So, just again, so that we can be clear,
Yeah.
do you remember that, because there are obviously 3 visits to
Yeah.
your flat by a firefighter, aren't there?
Yeah.
The first time when the firefighter comes, then when the firefighter brings Dennis, and this occasion when the firefighter comes and to tell you about moving to a different flat.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So
Now on those, sorry, I'm sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt,
it's
but if I just break it down, but it's one firefighter who comes into the flat on each occasion, isn't it?
Yes.
And is it your evidence that on one of those occasions the firefighter removed the face mask?
Yes, only one time. And I'm not sure if it's the same person who came before and after.
And the occasion when the firefighter removed the face mask could either have been when Dennis Murphy came into your flat, or this occasion when you were moving to flat 113.
So I'm sure it wasn't the first time, either the second or the third time.
Thank you. And you've described the firefighter as British, tall, and blonde. Is that blonde hair?
Yes.
Did the firefighter tell you why you had to move?
They told us we will move you to the next flat as it's safer and we'll keep you there.
Did they explain why your flat was no longer safe?
No, they didn't. They just said it's 113 is safer for you.
And did the firefighter specifically mention flat 113?
I think they said the next flat. They did. I don't remember if they mentioned 113.
You've set out, and I won't ask you the detail, but how you moved from flat 112 to 113. But when you were making that move, were you aware of any other firefighters being around?
I think, yeah, I could see, not clearly, but I could see many firefighters in the communal area.
And when you say many, can you give us a number?
No, not sure, but not more than 5 maximum, I think.
What were the conditions like in the communal areas you moved across from your flat to flat 113?
We have been told to run quickly, so it took us maybe just seconds to be in the next flat. So I didn't really check, or I didn't really see or look, but I could smell the smoke, but because it was very quickly, so I didn't inhale smoke that much. Yeah.
And when you say you could smell the smoke, can you describe the smell?
I think when they were in the communal area, it wasn't that thick comparing to before. Yeah.
And before is when you'd seen it earlier.
Yes, when I see.
When when was that? When you'd opened.
When
your
I tried to leave, me and my brother. Yeah.
As you moved across from your flat to flat 113 into the communal area, were you able to see the door that opens into the stairwell?
Yeah, I could see lights, so I knew it's the door. Yeah.
So there was sufficient visibility for you to be able to make out the door?
Yes.
Were the firefighters using torches?
I think they were, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, we've been going for an hour. I think if I could
Yes.
ask for a break at this point.
Well, I think that would be sensible because you're coming on to
A new topic.
slightly different topic anyway, aren't you? Mr. Alhaj Ali, we're going to have a bit of a break now. Please don't talk to anyone about your evidence while you're out of the room. And we'll resume at 11:10, if that's all right.
Okay.
Right? Thank you very much. Right, go with the usher. She'll look after you. Right, 11:10, please. All right, Mr. Alhaj Ali,
Yes,
you're
fine.
ready to
Thank you.
continue?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yes, Mr. Reller.
Could we have IWS 781, page 9, please? We expand just the last sentence of what's paragraph 23 down through to the end of paragraph 25, please. Thank you. We just pick it up with that last sentence of paragraph 23, Mr. Alhaj Ali. You say that Mohammed, Dennis and I all went inside, and that's into flat 113. And I think the fireman closed the door behind us. So do you have a recollection of firemen actually coming into the flat with you, or just opening the door and ushering you in?
I don't remember if he came with us inside into the flat, but I remember that he came into the flat, but I'm not sure if it was at that time or after.
And if we look at paragraph 24, is this right, that when you arrived at flat 113, obviously that was the home of Oluwasuen Talabi and his partner Rosemary and their young daughter, and they were there?
Yes.
But was Zainab Dean and her son already there when you arrived?
I think they were already there, because I've seen all of them, yeah. They were already there.
And can you remember where they were when you came into the flat?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was the living room.
So is your memory of everyone gathering in the living room?
In the living room, yes.
You say, if we look at paragraph 25, that a fireman came into the flat, told us to stay there, and told us it was the safest place to be. How soon after you were in flat 113 did that fireman come into the flat?
This is why I don't remember exactly when, but maybe at the same time when he brought us into the flat 113, or after that. I'm not sure exactly when.
Do you have any recollection of, after you'd arrived in the flat, somebody opening the door for the fireman?
I don't remember who opened the door. No.
Can you describe this fireman at all?
I couldn't describe him, but he's tall as well. That's what I remember.
And when you say tall, how tall?
Same as my height, maybe.
And can you give us your height?
188 centimeter.
And you say he. Could you tell?
He was talking to me and to the others. So,
And when the fireman was talking to you, did he have did he sound like a man?
yeah, he did.
Did he keep his face mask on?
Yes.
Now, how far into the flat did the firefighter come?
He came into the kitchen and the living room.
I think what would be helpful now is just to show you a plan. Can we have MET 30s12593 and page 12 of that document, please? And if we could just expand the bottom southwest corner, please. Mr. Alhaj Ali, this may be a plan that you're familiar with, but it's one that we've used with other witnesses. It's the layout of floor 4, but it gives us the layout of all the floors above there. And so where we see flat 3 and in brackets 13, that would actually be the layout of flat 113.
Yes.
So we can see there that there's a kitchen and a lounge, and the two windows of the lounge and the window of the kitchen would face west, and then there are two windows of the lounge facing south. Mm-hmm. Now, you say that the firefighter came into the lounge kitchen area. What you also say in your statement is we showed the fireman that the fire could be seen from the windows on both sides of the flat. So which windows are you referring to there?
So we were showing him from this window. I think it's the kitchen window. Oh, I think this one, yeah. So it was nearly here, the fire, on the right side of the kitchen window.
So your recollection is of taking the fireman to the kitchen window?
I think me and Rosemary did that, yeah.
And did you yourself look out of the kitchen window?
Yes, I did.
And you tell us that the fire was on the right side as you're looking out of that kitchen window. Can you give us a little more detail of what you could see?
It was spreading as well on the right side, going up as well, spreading as well very quickly, going to the top and then moving to above our window.
So when you were looking out there, was the fire already above your level?
No, it was still on the right side. But later on, I think it started to move to the above of our window.
But if we take it at that time,
Yeah.
you're saying it was on the right side. Was it below you or at the same level as your floor?
I think it's the same level, I think, or 2 floors below. Yeah.
Now, you've told us who's in the flat at the moment. Your recollection was that, and correct me if I've got this wrong, that everyone was in the lounge area. Is that right? Can you remember?
I think, yeah, everyone. Not sure if everyone, but yeah, what I remember, it's everyone, maybe.
Where was Dennis Murphy at that time?
He was next to the window, kitchen window, trying to have some fresh air. And I think he was using his phone, but next to the kitchen window. Yeah.
Can you describe what condition Dennis Murphy was in at that time?
Very quiet, very calm. He didn't say anything, but we knew that he wasn't in a good situation.
Now, you say you think he was using his phone.
Yeah.
Could you tell whether he was calling someone or whether he was receiving calls?
I didn't hear him, but I could see that he was using his phone and he was talking maybe, or trying to call, or I'm not sure, or answering a call. Yeah.
So just so that we can be clear, you remember Mr. Murphy with the phone to his ear?
Yes.
But you didn't hear what he was saying to
No.
anyone? Zainab Dean, what condition was she in at that time?
She was just scared, panicked, quite panicked. Yeah.
Now, in your statement, you say that she was busy making phone calls. Do you remember who she was calling?
No, I don't remember.
Did you hear anything of what she was saying on the telephone?
Not sure, but maybe friends or relatives.
But again, do you remember Zainab Dean having the phone to her ear?
Yes.
Can I take you now, please, to page 10 in your statement? So it's IWS 78110, please. And can we expand paragraph 26? Now, I won't read out the whole statement, but in this the whole paragraph, forgive me, but in this paragraph, what you describe is that's Oluwasuen Talabi, tying blankets together and trying to then climb out of the window with his daughter. What you say in that paragraph was it was the living room window facing the south side. I'll take you back to the plan to see if we can
Yeah.
try and find out where everyone was at that time. But how clear are you in your mind that this was from the living room window?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think, not sure if it was the living room or the bedroom, because what I remember, we moved after from the living room to the bedroom. So I don't really remember if it was after we moved to the bedroom or before, which is the living room.
Can you remember how soon after your arrival in flat 113 that Olu started trying to tie blankets together?
I don't remember when exactly, no.
Do you remember him actually putting the rope together?
No, I think it was ready. I saw it was just out of the window, yeah.
Well, let's go back to the plan that we were looking at, MET 30012593. And can we look at page 12, please? Now, in your statement, as you said, and you said you might not be sure of this, but if we take it in stages, your recollection when you made your statement was that the window that Mr. Talabi tried to climb out of was the living room window facing the south side. So if we look at that plan, is that one of the sort of two windows that we see at the bottom of the image? So just under flat 3, where it's written flat 313, was that?
So I'm not sure if it was this window or this window, but I remember it was facing this side.
Just to help you, Mr. Talabi, I think that on this plan, where it shows the blue lines, those are the windows. So there are two windows in the living room, and then there's a window each in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So with that, can you try and help us with which window you think Mr. Talabi was trying to climb out of?
So not sure if it's this one or this one here. One of them, yeah. But I'm sure it's not this one, it's not this, and it's not this side.
So it's either the window in the living room facing south and closest to the bedroom wall, or the window of the bedroom that's closest to the adjoining flat.
Yes.
Do you remember how many times Mr. Talabi tried to climb out of the window?
I think 2 or 3 times.
And when he was doing this, what were you and the other neighbours doing?
We didn't agree with him because we felt it's not strong enough for the blanket to do that. Like, I didn't agree. I didn't think that he will escape through the blankets. So I tried to advise to don't do it.
And was anybody else giving him the same advice?
Yeah, I think my brother too, and his partner, Rosemary.
Now, you've told us of a recollection of a firefighter coming into the flat, and you're showing the firefighter the fire from the window. Later on, firefighters came back, and that was when you left the flat. I'm going to ask you questions about that in due course. But between those two events, so you're showing the firefighter the fire and then you're leaving the flat, do you recall at all any other firefighters coming into the flat at any time?
You mean before I left
Yes.
the flat? I think only once, which when we showed him from the kitchen window.
And that was just one firefighter?
Yes, only one firefighter.
And again, so that we can just be clear, was the next time that you encountered firefighters when you left the flat?
The next time, when I left the flat, and the first time when I showed him the fire from the kitchen window. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll come back to that in due course, but can I just ask you a few more questions about Mr. Talabi and his efforts to go out of the window? Do you remember helping him to open the window wider?
Yes, I think we did, but not for the blankets. I think to try and see everything around us, which is the right and left side, and see the main entrance of the tower. Yeah.
But the window that he used to tie the rope to, do you remember helping him with that window?
Not with tightening the blanket, no. Just with opening the window.
That he then used?
I'm not sure if it's the same window he used, but I remembered we opened a window widely just to try and have clear view, of everything around us.
And we know that Mr. Talabi tied that makeshift rope
Yes.
to part of a window. You've told us that you now are not sure which window it was.
Yeah.
But do you remember at all taking part of that window coming off at all?
No, it wasn't taken off, no.
Now, what you also say is that Mr. Talabi had tied his daughter to his back.
Yes, he did.
Now, once he'd done that, did she stay tied to his back?
Not perfect, no. Wasn't good at all. So I didn't really see that she is 100% fitted to his back.
But let's go back to paragraph 26 then on page 10, please. What you say, and I'll pick it up from this sentence. Olu tied his young daughter to his back with a blanket, and he was about to leave the window with her attached to his back. She was crying and didn't want him to do it. Olu's wife didn't want him to try and get out through the window. He was saying that he was doing it for their daughter. He then undid the blanket and took his daughter out. And then you say he then climbed out of the window. And he got stuck in a position, and your brother and yourself grabbed hold of him and pulled him back in. Is that something that you still remember now?
Yes.
And just to go back to my question, you've told us that there was a time when Mr. Talabi tied his daughter to his back. Do you remember him then untying his daughter from his back?
I remembered, I think it was him and his partner who untied his daughter. Yeah.
Now, you may not be able to help us with this, and tell us if you can't, but when you're in your mind picturing Mr. Talabi by that window, are you clear in your mind that it was in the lounge or in a bedroom?
I'm not clear. Maybe the bedroom, because I remembered seeing children lying on the double bed. So I think it's the bedroom, but not 100% sure. Yeah.
Now, do you remember everyone else who was in the flat being in the same room as Mr. Talabi when he was trying to climb out of the window?
I remember seeing Zainab and her son in the bedroom, because her son was on the bed, so I knew that time we are in a bedroom. Yeah.
And again, did you see them before or after Mr. Talabi had tried to exit through the window?
I don't remember. I think, not sure really if it's after, but maybe after, not sure if it's after. or during that time. Yeah.
When you were in flat 113, were the lights in the flat working?
Yes.
And which rooms had lights on?
The bedroom and the living room. I don't remember if we had light in the corridor area, but I remembered it was darker than the living room and the bedroom.
Well, let's go back now and let's look at paragraphs 27 and 28 on the same page, please. In the sequence of events that you set out in your statement, this is what would read as what happens after Mr. Talabi had tried to leave by the window. And you say that Dennis Murphy wasn't talking, was just next to the kitchen window on the west side looking at the fire. Had Mr. Murphy's condition changed at all in the time from when he arrived in your flat?
No. Just staying calm and quiet all the time.
And you've placed him there in the kitchen or by the kitchen window. Do you recall him ever moving to other parts of the flat?
I think he moved with us to the bedroom, and maybe that was an advice from the firefighter when he saw the fire to move to the bedroom, which is safer to us than being in the lounge and kitchen area.
Now, was this the firefighter that you'd taken to show the fire to?
Yes.
What is it that now makes you think that the firefighter gave some advice?
He gave some advice maybe because he tried to put us in the safest area, which is the one which is very far from the fire.
Do you have a clear recollection in your mind that the firefighter did give some advice?
I don't think it was an advice, but not really good advice. Yeah.
Let's take that in stages. You've taken the firefighter to see the fire from the kitchen window.
Yeah.
Do you now remember the firefighter giving you advice?
Yes, I remembered him. I think, I remembered because we moved to the bedroom because he said that.
Well, let's just go back the previous page, to page 9, please, and look at paragraph 25 again. Just expand 25. What you said in your statement was the firefighter looked at the fire from the window on the west side and just said, okay. He again told us to stay where we were and then left. So what is it that now makes you believe that what the firefighter told you was to move to the bedroom?
I'm not really certain about this, but what I think, we have moved to the bedroom because we have been advised. So it might be the firefighter, or maybe we advised each other to move to the bedroom, which is safer. So not really sure about why we moved to the bedroom. Yeah. But what I remember, the firefighter, he was very quiet as well, and he said maybe a few words. One of them is okay. Yeah.
Now, you've told us that you can't be sure whether Mr. Talabi tried to leave via a window in the living room or via a window in the bedroom.
Yes, because we spent some time in the living room and other time in the bedroom. So I'm not sure where it was that. Yeah.
But doing the best you can, do you think that is it possible that you may have moved to the bedroom after he had tried to leave by a window?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was after or before.
Let's go back, please, to paragraph 27 on page 10. We've looked at this, but I just want to pick up on the second sentence. The rest of us were in the living room next to the window on the south side. We were talking about escape plans, whether it was safe to leave from the stairwell. Is that still your recollection, that when you had a discussion about escape plans, you were in the living room?
At the beginning, we were in the living room, and we spoke about many things. I'm not sure if this discussion was in the living room or the bedroom, but maybe in both of them, because, yeah.
Are you able to help us at all with how soon after this firefighter left that you moved into the bedroom?
I can't remember, but not a really long time, I think. Yeah.
Again, let's look at paragraph 28 now. You say that every time we looked out of the window, we could see the fire was getting closer and closer to us. I looked east towards my flat next door, out of the windows facing south, and could see the whole flat was burning and on fire. Again, just so that we can be clear, can you remember which window you were looking out at?
I think it was the bedroom window. And yeah, maybe I as well checked from the living room window as well.
Let's go back to the plan then. MET 30s12593, page 12, please. Just expand flat 3, thank you. So if we're looking south, you have 2 windows in the lounge, marked with the blue lines, and you have 2 bedrooms. Now, in paragraph 28 that we were looking at, you refer to one window, to looking out of one window. So do you remember looking out of the window on more than one occasion now?
Yes, I looked from the window for many times, actually. Yeah, I checked from the window many times. I remembered checking from the lounge window and the bedroom window.
And when you say that the lounge window, is that the window that you indicated earlier, the one that's closest to the bedroom?
Yes, this one.
There are 2 bedroom windows that face in the same direction.
So this bedroom.
What makes you... What is it that tells you that you were in that bedroom rather than the other bedroom?
Because I remembered we were opposite of the front door, and it had a double bed. So yeah.
What you say, and I'll take you back to it if you need it. I looked east towards my flat next door, out of the windows facing south, and could see the whole flat was burning and on fire. The fire was getting closer to us. This was around 2:45 a.m. What do you base that timing on?
I checked the time when I left the tower. So when I checked from the window, it was maybe 15 minutes before I left the tower. Yeah.
And how did you check the time when you left the tower?
I think by my phone, because my phone was with me.
You say in paragraph 28 that smoke was now getting stronger. where was the smoke coming from?
From the front door to the corridor.
And was this the front door, flat 113?
Yes.
And could you see how the smoke was getting into the front door of flat 113?
It was dark in the corridor area and front of the door as well. It was getting darker. And I remembered we used blankets to try and stop the smoke on the bottom of the door.
And did that work?
I don't think it did, no. Maybe the smoke as well was coming from somewhere else, not just the bottom. Yeah.
And how was the visibility in the corridor of flat 113 at that time?
Not that clear, like maybe I would say 50%.
So you say that the heat of the flat was getting hotter and hotter. Hallway was darker than the other rooms. It started to get harder to breathe. We were all sweating from the heat. So where you're talking about the heat of the flat, is that conditions inside flat 113?
Yes.
And aside from the smoke coming through the front door, were you aware of smoke coming into the flat from anywhere else?
I'm not sure if it was coming from anywhere else, but we could smell it and we could feel it was getting hotter there. Yeah.
But you've told us that doing the best you can, you've identified 2 windows that you looked out of. Were you aware of smoke coming into the flat through those windows?
I don't think it was coming from the windows. Otherwise, we would close it. I think we kept it open that time.
Do you remember what happened to the makeshift rope that Mr. Talabi had fashioned?
No, I don't remember.
Do you remember it being tied to a window frame?
I remember it was tightened, but I don't know if they pulled it out or they untied it again, or I don't remember that. Yeah.
And just so that we can be clear, you're saying at paragraph 28, every time we looked out of the window, and you refer to windows facing south, could this be one of the 2 windows that you've identified?
Yes.
Can we look then at page 11, IWS 781, page 11, and can we have a look at paragraph 29, please? We begin that paragraph with the sentence, as the fire was coming closest to us, everyone started to run around shouting, and it was getting manic in the flat. We were shouting and walking around everywhere. Everyone was panicking. We thought to open the windows. We also thought to open the front door to leave. Taking that in stages, where was everyone going in the flat?
I remember last time we were in the bedroom, the one with double beds, and because it was small and we were too many in one bedroom, so we started to just walk around, and maybe we left the bedroom to check the living room and come back again. Some of us, not sure. Yeah.
So there were 8 people in the flat.
Yes.
Can you remember? Were you one of those people who was moving around?
Yes.
What about your brother Muhammad?
I think he was with me most of the time. We were next to each other, yeah.
What about Zainab Dean? Can you remember what she did?
I remembered, yeah, she was crying and scared, and she was, she put her child on the bed. So yeah, her son was in the bed. That's why I remember she was in the bedroom, because I remembered her son was in the bed, and she was saying few words like, "I lost a son before, and I don't want to lose the other one."
And you say that Zainab Dean placed her son on the bed.
Yeah.
Did she stay in the bedroom, or did she go anywhere else in the flat?
I don't know if she went somewhere else. for some times, but I remember seeing her in the bedroom. Yeah.
And what about Dennis Murphy? Do you remember him moving around the flat?
I don't remember if he as well was moving around, but as well I saw him in the bedroom.
Aside from the people I've mentioned, there's obviously the occupants of the flat, Mr. Talabi, his partner Rosemary, and their daughter. Can you remember where they were?
Their daughter was in the bed as well, next to Zainab's son. But Olu and his wife, they were around the bed. Yeah.
So is your recollection that they stayed in the bedroom with their daughter?
Well, yeah, I think they stayed there with their daughter, but not sure if they checked or they went out to the living room to see and come back. Yeah.
Can we look at paragraph 31, please? Now, I'm just going to read the first two lines. I looked outside the living room window, which was open. As I looked above, I could see the flames of the fire. Fire was coming from above and from the left. It was coming from flat 112 and from above. When I looked to the left, I could see our flat 112. Again, can you help us with which window you looked out at this time?
I think it was the bedroom window.
And what you've written there, that it was the living room window. What is it that makes you now say that it's the bedroom window?
Because I checked from the living room window at the beginning, and then I checked from the bedroom window. So it's both of them, but earlier in the living room and later on the bedroom.
Now, you've told us that doing the best you can remember that you were one of those who moved around the flat.
Yeah.
So you would have gone from bedroom to living room and back, wouldn't you?
Yes.
So if you are moving around between those two rooms, what is it that now makes you clear in your recollection that actually it was the bedroom window from which you saw things that you
Because of
described?
the double bed I've seen in the bedroom and the children on the double bed. I wasn't checking that much in the flat if it's living or bedroom, if it's living room or bedroom, but because of the double bed I've seen, so it was the bedroom. Yeah.
If you were at that living room window, I think it's one of the two windows that you've indicated earlier, isn't it? So
Yes.
it's the living room window closest to the bedroom, one of the bedrooms. If you were out of that living room window and it was open, would that give you a view of your flat 112?
No, it would give me, I could see flames, but not really my flat. But I could see flames on the side, on the left side of 113. So I realized that should be my flat, 112.
So if we look at what you've described in paragraph 31, that you describe the fire travelling downwards from the top, coming across from your flat, also coming from the northwestern side and travelling to where we were. Fire was blue and red in colour. The flames looked so close, I thought to myself, in a couple of minutes, the flames will be inside flat 113. The flames were less than 5 metres away from the window. I looked down towards the ground, but the flames were coming mainly from the top and travelling down towards us. Just again, so that we can be clear, you've got two windows that you say you looked out of, and they look out in the same direction. And the flat next door is your flat, flat 112. Is it possible that what you've described in this paragraph was something that you could have seen from that living room window?
I think you could see that from both windows, living room and the bedroom, because the fire was spreading from the left side on the top of our windows, of 113 windows.
Could we then just pick it up at paragraph 32 on the same page, please? I'm just going to take you through this paragraph, Mr. Alhaj Ali.
Do you think this would be a good moment?
It would actually be a good moment,
Because
actually.
we're
Yeah.
getting to
Yeah.
an important part of
yes.
the evidence, aren't we? I think we'll have another break on Mr. Alhaj Ali. I'll say 12 to give you a bit of a time to stretch your legs and
Okay, thank you.
recover. All right? And please don't talk to anyone about your evidence. All right? Thank you. Five past 12, please. All right, Mr. Alhaj
Yes,
Ali?
good, thank you.
Happy to carry on. Right, thank you. Yes, Mr. Robert.
Thank you, sir. Could we have, please, on the screen, IWS 781, page 11, please? That's paragraph 32, if you can. Thank you. Mr. Alhaj Ali, we're now coming to that point in the night when you left flat 113. And in this paragraph, you speak of the arrival of firefighters at the flat door. But before we get into that detail, I just want to ask you just to go back a little bit in time and I just want to ask you a couple of questions about what was going on in the flat just before the firefighters arrived. Do you follow? Now, the first thing to be clear is you say at nearly 3 a.m., and that's how you begin the paragraph. What do you base that timing on?
Just timing, maybe checking time on the phone, or maybe I checked the time after I left straight away. So I based that on
So
the time.
do you have a clear memory of after you'd left and were outside the tower of checking the time on the phone?
Yes.
And what time did it give you, your phone, when you left the tower?
Around 3 o'clock, but I'm not sure exactly what time is it.
Now, at about this time and before anybody had arrived at flat 113, what were the conditions like in the flat?
It was getting hotter. Everyone was scared and panicked, and the smoke was getting thicker, and we could smell it for more than before, actually.
And where was the smoke coming into the flat from?
From the front door.
And whereabouts in the flat was it getting thicker?
In the corridor, going into the bedrooms, I think, yeah.
What about the living room?
I'm not sure about the living room, not really clear.
Do you remember whether... I'm sorry to interrupt, you were going to
Yeah.
say something.
No, it's fine. I'm just trying to remember if it was really dark as well in the living room or not. But I don't remember because I'm not sure where I was that time, if I was in the bedroom or the living room. Yeah.
Thank you. You probably preempted my next question, which was to ask you whether you remember whether there were any lights on in the flat.
Yes, we had lights, but not in the corridor. It was dark in the corridor. So we had light in the bedroom. That's what I remember. Yeah.
And do you remember any lights on in the living room?
Before, yes. And after, not really sure.
In the corridor, the hallway that leads to the front door, what was the visibility like at that time?
Hard, like you cannot see clearly. Like it was like you could see for maybe if someone who's close to you, you can see him, but not really far. Yeah.
And was that difficulty just in the hallway?
In the hallway, yeah.
Doing the best you can you help us with this? Just before the firemen came, where was everyone in the flat? Can you remember?
I don't remember, but I remembered that we were in the bedroom, but not sure if it was when the firefighter opened, when they opened the door. Not sure if at that time we were in the bedroom or not, because we started to just move around and trying to look everywhere. Yeah.
So at that time, do you still have a clear recollection of people moving around within the flat?
Not sure if it was if everyone was going to other rooms or to the living room or not, But I remembered most of the time we were in one room together and moving in the same room together. Yeah.
And what room was that?
I think it's the bedroom. Yeah. And that was because of the double bed again. Yeah.
If we I'll just read out paragraph 32. At nearly 3 a.m., the fire was very close to us when I noticed that someone had opened the front door and the firemen were there. I think Mohammed was in the living room. I saw Olu running towards the front door. I did not hear a knock. We were all in the living room. There was smoke in the living room, but not as much as in the hallway and next to the front door. Olu started to run towards the front door, so I followed him. He is with his daughter and wife. When the fireman came to the door, the smoke was very strong. I tried to look back behind me, but I could not see anything because of how thick the smoke was in the hallway around the door area. Before the door was open, there was a little bit of smoke. When the door was open, thick and black smoke was coming in. Now, taking it as today, before you saw any firemen, did you hear any knocking at the front door?
No.
Did you see anyone open the front door?
Not at that time. I could hear that. I could hear a little bit voices next to the door, but couldn't really see someone opening the door. No.
Why was it that you could only hear voices and not see someone?
Because I heard the voices, and when I heard the voices, I then tried to go to check in the front door.
Right, well, let's do it with the plan. MET 30125593, please. Thank you. So, where were you when you heard voices?
This is what I don't remember actually, but I remembered myself following Olu or his partner Rosemary, and trying to follow them and check the voices that's coming from the front door. So not sure if that time it was the bedroom or the living room. Here is saying the living room, but I think that's not really, certain or 100%. Yeah.
So the best that you can do today is say you may have been in the living room or in a bedroom.
I think it's the bedroom because most of the time we were in the bedroom.
When you followed the voice, you heard voices and you followed, where did you go?
Where did I go?
Yes, when you heard these voices.
I was going forward the front door, towards the front door, sorry. Behind, I think it was Olu. I think it's behind Olu.
And when you say you were following, were you walking or?
Walking, yeah.
And what was Olu doing?
I think he was moving quickly, maybe running, maybe walking, not sure.
We can see the hall on that plan that's up on the screen there.
Yeah.
And you can see that there's a bend, so it's an an inverse L shape. But where were you? Can you remember where you were when you first saw a firefighter?
I think it's the bedroom, but still not really sure if it's the bedroom or the living room. Yeah, but I think it's the bedroom because most of the time recently we were in the bedroom.
So just again, please clarify this because you said that you'd heard voices.
Yes.
And then you followed Olu.
Shall I point at that?
Well, but do you now remember being in a room and being able to see a firefighter?
I couldn't see. I could hear, and maybe I could see shape of someone, but not really seeing a firefighter. Yeah.
What
But
is it that you could hear?
I could hear people saying, let's go," or something like shouting or something like that, yeah.
And do you have a clear recollection of seeing shapes?
I think I saw not really how many, one or two maximum.
And
Yeah.
where were those shapes?
Just at this area here. Exactly here, or maximum by this area here in the corridor, not far from the front door.
And do you remember seeing those shapes before you went into the hallway?
No,
So where were you standing when you saw those shapes?
I remember that I was coming either from the bedroom, following Olu, then here where I stopped seeing anything. Or it might be I was coming from this area, but what I remember, most of the time, I remember that everyone else was behind me, not front of me.
So take that stage. Who was in front? Who do you remember being in front of you?
Olu only, yeah, that's what I saw in front of me.
And
And maybe his partner too, but not the rest in front of me.
And do you remember how they were carrying their daughter?
No, I couldn't see that.
So you've heard voices, and then you say that you may have either been in the bedroom or the living room. And just so that we can say where the record was, you were either in, again, just to help us with, where exactly do you think you were when you saw these shapes?
I think it was the bedroom, yeah.
But were you in the hallway before you saw the shapes, or were you still in the bedroom when you saw the shapes?
I was still in the bedroom. And maybe, yeah, I think I was in the bedroom, yeah. Yeah.
So do you remember when the bedroom door had been opened?
What time you mean?
Yes.
Not sure what time, but nearly around 3 o'clock, yeah.
And why is it that
Becau-
you recall it being opened at nearly around 3 o'clock?
Because I checked out the time after I left the tower.
And do you remember who opened the bedroom door?
No, the bedroom door, no.
So,
I don't know if it was closed or open as well. Yeah,
well,
not sure.
would you accept that for you to be able to see shapes from the bedroom
No.
door would have had to be open?
No, I could see shapes when I was in the corridor, in the hallway.
So I don't want to get you confused, so can
Yeah.
we just take it again in steps?
Mm-hmm.
You were either in the living room or the bedroom,
Yeah,
and it's the bedroom with the double bed in it.
and yeah, I think mostly in the bedroom.
And you then heard voices, and you recall following Olu.
Yeah, Olu or his partner, or two of them, I think. Yeah,
So you then left either the living room or the bedroom, is that right?
yes, but I would say mostly the bedroom. Yeah,
Now, when you first saw shapes, can you use that plan just to indicate where you were when you first saw shapes?
I was, when I arrived to the hallway, I remember that I couldn't see anymore. I got lost here because of the smoke, how it was very thick, dark. So I started to move, going here left and right and left and right and hitting the walls sometimes.
And before you got to that point, could you see shapes?
No,
So was it at that point that you had an idea of shapes?
yes,
So just for the record, that's at the bend of in the hall, where it would bend, turning, if one's walking from the front door, turning right towards the lounge. How many shapes could you see?
I heard many voices, but I could see one shape, I think. Yeah, one or two maximum. I think I started to see many shapes closer to the door, front door.
And when you say closer to the front door, were these shapes inside the flat or?
I think because it was open the door that time, so I could see out of the door, not inside.
So just help us with this. If the front door was open, what were the conditions like in the hallway?
Very dark, very smoky, and I couldn't see anything, and I couldn't even breathe that time.
And that was even before you'd got into the communal area?
Yes.
Whilst you were still in the hallway, did you have a sense of what the conditions were like in the communal area?
The condition, it was when they opened the door, when I started to hear these voices, and I went to this hallway, here where I couldn't see anything, but I heard voices next to the door, and I realized that the door is open because of the voices and how thick the smoke was coming in. Yeah.
And we've talked about shapes and voices. Was there anything else about these shapes that indicated that they were firefighters?
Any other, sorry, again?
Was there anything else about the shapes that told you that it was firefighters at the front door?
I think I heard someone or people saying, let's go, or walk, something like that.
Do you have a recollection of seeing anybody wearing a mask?
No.
You've described that your recollection is of Olu in front of you, and possibly Rosemary. Where was your brother Muhammad?
At that time, not sure, but I remember that he was behind me, but not sure where exactly. But I remembered following Olu to check what's happening outside, and he was behind me somewhere.
When you say behind you, how close behind you was your brother?
Very close. We were next to each other. I just walked to check. So maybe he waited for me to check. I'm not sure what he did.
Do you remember what your brother was doing just before you heard the voices at the front door?
I remember we were talking to each other, but when I started to follow Olu, I don't remember what he was doing.
Can you remember where Dennis was?
No, don't remember.
And what about Zainab and her son? Can you remember where they were at this time?
I think next to the bed. I think her son was in the bed, but I'm not sure where she was exactly.
One of the places that you put yourself as coming from was the lounge. Do you remember whether the lights were on in the lounge at this time?
I don't remember, no.
Do you remember whether the door to the lounge was open or closed?
I don't remember as well, if it was open or closed. But I don't think on my way to the hallway, I saw a closed door. Everything was opened. Yeah.
As you know, and I'm going to do it by putting up your supplementary statement, which is IWS 401052, please. Can we expand paragraph 2? Now this, you've set out in your supplementary statement part of the account given in a statement by Firefighter Peter Herrera. And he's also given oral evidence to the inquiry. His account, and I'm summarising, is of seeing a silhouette walking into the lounge of flat 113 and speaking with a man with a Middle Eastern accent. Firefighter Herrera has said that he asked this man if there was anyone else in the flat, and the man replied, "No, I am the last one." Did you have a conversation like that with Firefighter Herrera?
No, that didn't happen.
What is it that makes you sure that it didn't happen?
Because that time I knew that everyone is behind me, not everyone, but the rest. And I didn't search the rooms to make sure that no one else in the flat. And in the hallway, I couldn't see or breathe to even talk or have a conversation. And I couldn't see anyone, only shape.
Can we just look at the...
Sorry, can I just ask,
yes.
did you have any words with the fireman? Did he
No.
say anything to you, or did you say anything to him?
Nothing at all. I didn't have any conversation. I remembered myself being pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
That's only what I remembered. Yeah, nothing else. I didn't have any conversation.
Right, thank you.
Which point in the flat had you reached when you recall being pulled out?
Not far from the door, in the hallway, I think. Yeah. So I was lost, trying to walk around, trying to see anything, touching walls, and then someone pulled me out and pushed me outside.
And was that by the front door?
Yes.
You've said that Olu was in front of you, and you've told us about Rosemary, and you've given evidence that everyone was behind you. Do you have a recollection of a firefighter coming into the lounge area at all?
No.
Do you remember a firefighter coming into the bedroom at all?
No.
We've seen how the hallway has a bend in it, and there's a right-hand turn as it goes towards the lounge. Do you remember a firefighter being in the part of the lounge that led, in the part of the hallway that led to the lounge at all?
No, I remember the only time I started to see shape, it just in the hallway, not far from the front door, very close to the front door.
Can I, if we could just have the whole of that statement, please, for a moment. Mr. Alhaj Ali, when we began with your evidence, I pointed out that although you'd signed the statement, it wasn't dated. There is, however, a date at the top of the statement, which is the 5th of September 2018. And we know that Firefighter Herrera gave evidence on the 6th of September. Can I just ask if Ralph, if you could expand paragraph 3, please? You say there, as you've said today, that Firefighter Herrera's account is not true. And you continue, most of the time we were in the living room area, but people would often walk around the flat, just not knowing what to do or looking for an idea to get out. Mohammed was in the living room and I was in the hallway, not far from the front door, when the door opened. Now, what you've told us today, in October, was that all you can remember is that Mohammed was behind you. Why were you able on the 5th of September to say that Mohammed was in the living room?
This is what I knew that we were all in one bedroom, either the bedroom or the living room. But I'm not 100% sure if it's the bedroom. So maybe I said the living room because I didn't check how it looks around me, the flat. But I knew that we were, most of us or all of us, in one room. Maybe I said the living room because I got lost in the hallway, so I didn't really remember where I came from, either the bedroom or the living room. Yeah.
So where it says Mohammed was in the living room, is that something you can stand by today?
Just because everyone was in the same bedroom or living room, so I knew Mohammed was with them. Yeah.
So it's the best that you can do today to say that what you recall is that Mohammed was with everybody else?
Yes.
And that could have been either in a bedroom or in a living room?
Yes.
What you don't mention in that paragraph is bedroom.
It's what? Sorry?
You don't say the word, that paragraph doesn't contain the word bedroom, does it?
Yeah, I think it was just misunderstanding because I said that time when I was giving evidence that I don't remember exactly if it's the living room or the bedroom, but it has been written as a living room. Yeah.
So when you made this statement, were you at that time of making the statement unclear about whether it was the bedroom or the living room?
Yes.
But the person helping you with the statement didn't record that it could have been the bedroom.
Yes.
And when you signed that statement, did you not check the statement to see whether or not it referred to bedroom?
I read it, but I didn't really check exactly this words living room or bedroom because I wasn't sure about it, so I didn't really, focus on that. Yeah.
So if we pull it together, and doing the best that you can today, it is the best that you can say is that your brother and others were behind you,
Yeah.
but you can't be sure of which room they were in.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can we go back, please, to your first statement? And go, please, to page 12. If we pick up paragraph 33, please. You've already given us some detail about how you left the flat, but I just want to ask some additional details, please. You've told us that you remember being pulled out of the flat. Once you got into the communal area, were you assisted at all?
When I've been pulled out, I remember that I've been pulled out to the communal area, and here where I stopped completely breathing, and I was just breathing smoke and couldn't really see anything. But I remembered myself being hit by, or being, I touched someone, either of, I think, firefighter or someone, but he pushed me again towards the stairs, and another one as well pushed me, so they were pushing me all the time and directing me where to go. I wasn't walking, I was pushed actually, so, and I tried to talk or shout that time or saying or anything, and I tried to say that I'm not breathing, or I tried to say, to shout about, to say, to check where is my brother, but I couldn't at all, I couldn't see, I've been pushed that time.
Do you remember getting any instructions as to which direction to go?
No, just they were pushing me. That's what I remember. Yeah.
You've described in your statement the conditions in the communal area. Did the firefighters have torches or anything like that?
I don't know, but I couldn't see anything at all. So even if they had, maybe because of the smoke, we couldn't see. Not sure, yeah.
When you got into the stairwell, was there any difference in the conditions in the stairwell from the communal area?
No, it was very thick smoke the whole way until the third or second floor where I started to breathe again.
And was it only when you got to those lower floors that there was any light?
I think I started to see lights, yeah, on either third or second floor. And I started to have fresh air or maybe some air, yeah.
And do you remember whether there was any difference in the temperature of the communal area and the temperature of the stairwell?
It was very hot in the stair and even in the communal area. It was the same exactly.
And when you say very hot, what do you mean by very hot?
I could feel the heat of the smoke on my face, throat, on my skin, everywhere, yeah.
You describe, and it's in paragraph 35, you got down the stairwells and you got to the main entrance. When were you first aware that your brother was not behind you? When was that?
When I arrived to the ground floor, and here I looked behind me because at the beginning I thought he's behind me and he's being pulled out, same as me. So I was running and walking the stairs, and when I arrived I checked behind me, I didn't see him. So here where I thought maybe he's still in the flat, yeah.
I just want now to show you some CCTV stills. Mr. Chairman, what I'll do is, they are stills taken of just by the main entrance, so they show firefighters and they show people leaving the tower. And those are images that may be distressing to some that are here, so I'll just pause briefly if anyone wants to leave. But I think no one has indicated such. What I'm going to do is, as I take you through these stills, Mr. Alhaj Ali, I'm going to give what's called the adjusted time, which is the best estimate that we can give with the assistance of our experts for the real time on the camera. All right? Okay. So can we have, first of all, INQ 446, please? The adjusted time for this still is 02:44:08. Just for the record, Mr. Alhaj, can you confirm that that's you there?
Yes.
And we see that you've got an open shirt. What colour is that shirt?
Navy, I think navy. The jacket, you mean? It's
a jacket, sorry.
Yeah, it's a tracksuit jacket.
A tracksuit jacket, you say?
Yeah.
Aside from being navy, did it have any markings on it?
I think red lines, but don't remember any marks.
Just so that you can see the context in which questions I'm going to ask you are going to come, can we have INQ 447, please? Again, the adjusted time for this is 02:44:11. We can see that there's a figure wearing what looks like black tracksuit bottoms and grey shoes, and then a navy blue jacket. Is that you there?
Yes.
If we go now to INQ 449, adjusted time for this is 02:44:32. Could we expand the top half of that image, if that's possible? Is it someone wearing a white helmet with and a jacket with fire written on it? We can see there on the expanded image there are two firefighters, one without a helmet and one with a white helmet. And facing almost towards the camera is a man with a beard. Can you confirm, is that you?
Yes.
And can you tell us what was happening in this?
I remembered asking them, where is my brother, and telling them maybe he's still in the flat, and I'm sure that he's still in the flat because he's not with me. And I was pointed as well where I came from, and I didn't see my brother. Yeah, and so they were just listening to me, and I remembered someone asked me where you came from. I said 113, and he wrote that on my hand before I left the tower. Yeah.
You say someone asked you. Can you help whether it was one of the two firefighters that we see in that?
No, I don't remember.
I think we can see that you appear to have your hand raised in this image. Can you tell us what you were doing at that? Does that help us?
I think I was telling them my brother's still upstairs. Yeah.
And you told them this is taken in the main entrance. Was it there where you were asked what flat you'd come and somebody wrote it on your hand?
Yes.
And when you were talking to firefighters by the main entrance, did you tell them which flat your brother was in?
Yes.
Do you know what they did with that information? Did you see what they did with that information?
Nothing. Someone said maybe he's panicked. Yeah.
And when you say someone said maybe he's panicked, who's the he?
A firefighter next to the one who wrote 113 on my hand.
And who was the person that firefighter was saying was panicked?
I don't know who's he, but I heard a man voice. Yeah.
And you heard a man's voice saying maybe he's panicked?
Yes.
Let's go to the next image, INQ 450, please. Again, if we could expand the top part as much as possible. That's... The adjusted time for the record for this image is 02, 44 and 43 seconds. We can see that well, there are 3 firefighters in the image, one with a white helmet, one without a helmet, and then the third who's on the left of the image as we look at it, with a torch on his jacket. Behind the firefighter with the white helmet, we can see the top half of someone's head. Can you confirm whether that's you or not?
Yes, that's me.
And again, that person has an arm raised. Does that help you to tell us what was going on at that time?
I think I was telling them about my brother most of the time, and as well telling them where I came from.
Did you mention anybody else who'd been in flat 113 to these firefighters?
Yes, I did mention children as well. I did say a child, an old man, and my brother. I don't remember saying Zainab too, because I wasn't sure where she was, but I remembered saying children, so maybe that they can do something, because I knew that a child was in the flat.
Do you remember telling them how many people had been in the flat before you left it?
I don't remember saying how many, but I was trying to tell them who is in the flat. Yeah.
Can we just go now just to the last image in the sequence, and it's INQ 458. Again, if we could expand the top part of the image. 458, INQ 458, please. Can you see that just in the doorway there's a firefighter with a helmet? Are you able to tell ahead of that firefighter? It looks like there's a man there. Are you able to say from that image whether that's you or not?
Yeah, it's me.
And that seems to be you now leaving the tower. And for the record, the adjusted time is 0245 and 15 seconds. Can I ask you just to, we'll go back to your witness statement, please. And it's the first witness statement, IWS 781 at page 13. And if we expand paragraph 36, please. You explained there that you made a telephone call with your brother Muhammad, who told you that he was still in flat 113. Can you remember where you were when you first called him?
Just next to the tower, not really far, not next to the... they pushed me a bit far from the front, the main entrance, but not that far from the tower, very close. And I was walking towards the children playground area.
What you say in this paragraph was, whilst I was still on the phone to Muhammad, I walked over to a fireman inside the tower and told them that my brother was still in the flat and could not get out. I was saying, please go upstairs, please, there are children upstairs. The person that I was talking to had a mask on. So just again, so we can be clear of the sequence, you get out of the tower, as we've seen in the CCTV stills, you phone your brother, and then do you then go back towards the tower?
Yes, I came back to the main entrance of the tower.
And was that where you had this conversation with a firefighter?
Yes.
What you also say, some firefighters were saying that they were sure they took everyone out. When did you hear that?
I heard someone was saying that, but not for me, for the other firefighters. He was saying, we took everyone out. And then I started to say, no, my brother's still in the flat and he's on the phone with me. And there's other people with him as well.
Did you give the firefighters any information about who else was with your brother?
Yes, I was saying an old man, a child, a woman, and my brother. Because Mohammed told me that time about who else with him in the flat.
Now, the firefighters were saying they were sure that they took everyone out. Where were they?
They were just close to the tower, out of the tower, yeah.
So were they outside the tower but close to the main entrance?
Yeah, close, but not very, very close, yeah.
Was there anything about them that allowed you to say whether or not they had been the firefighters that had taken people out of flat 113?
Sorry, again?
Sorry, I'll put that in a different way. You say that some firefighters were saying they were sure that they took everyone out. Could you tell if the firefighters who were saying that had actually been involved in taking people out of flat 113?
I didn't know because I couldn't see who brought me out and I couldn't see faces. So I didn't know if it's the same people or not.
Can I take you to page 15 of your statement, please, and we'll look at paragraph 42. Just again, to set it in context, you've described in this part of your statement that a friend, Farah, came over and helped you to calm down. You say, I was too upset to be calmed down. I was coughing a lot and the paramedic came over and gave me an oxygen mask. Was that the first time you'd been given an oxygen mask?
Yes, it was next to Latimer Road Station, that area next under the tree. Because that wasn't the first place I went to. The first place I went to, it was next to the playground area. And the second time, they told us to go to that place, not far from the station.
Let's go to your second statement, please. And can we look at IWS 401052 and page 2? In this second statement, you deal with the second part of Firefighter Herrera's written statement, and it's also something that he has given evidence about to the chairman. What he says is that he came across you by the playground area. You were on your phone and you said, my brother's still in there, I'm still on the phone to him, he's on his knees praying. And you also said, I was mistaken. And taking that in stages, where were you when you first received oxygen?
I was next to the station, Latimer Station, a space there, I'm not sure what's called, but under the tree. Yeah.
Did you receive oxygen in the playground area?
No, just water.
Do you remember having any conversation with a firefighter where you said, my brother is still in there, I'm still on the phone to him, he's on his knees praying?
That didn't happen, no. I just spoke to firefighter and I was saying that I am on the phone with my brother, but I didn't say I was mistaken and I didn't say he was praying.
So just so we can be clear, it's your evidence that you didn't say I was mistaken?
No, I didn't say that.
Did any firefighter introduce himself or herself to you
No.
as someone who'd been inside flat 113?
No.
Did this conversation happen?
No.
You've told us about the effect that coming through the communal area and down the stairwell had on you physically. You've said that you were upset and Farah had to calm you down. Is it at all possible that you could be mistaken when you say that this conversation didn't happen?
No, I'm sure it didn't happen because I was on the phone with my brother, and he cannot pray at the same time and talking to me at the same time. And what I remembered, we were reading just Quran, but not praying in the flat. Yeah.
So when you were in the flat, you read Quran together.
Yeah.
When you were on the phone with your brother, did he read the Quran at all to you?
No.
Did he say anything about the Quran to you?
No, he was just saying me, I didn't see anyone. Where everyone? Where did you go? How did you go? Yeah.
And did your brother tell you when you made more than one phone call with your brother, didn't you?
Yes, many calls. Yeah.
Did he tell you where he and those who'd remained in the flat were in the flat?
They were next to him, but he didn't tell me where he was, if it was bedroom or living room, but he told me that he could see everyone next to him. Zainab, her son, and Dennis.
Did he tell you anything about the conditions in the flat?
Yes.
Did he tell you anything about the smoke in the flat?
Yeah. He told me it was the smoke was coming inside, and I can see that others stopped breathing.
Mr. Chairman, I've no further questions, but may I ask for a short break so that I can check if there are any supplementaries?
Well, those are all the questions that Mr. Rawat thinks he's got at the moment, but we normally have a short break so that he can check his notes and consider the matter. So we'll stop now until 1 o'clock, and then I'm going to ask you to come back at 1 o'clock, and we'll see if there are any more questions at that stage. All right?
Okay.
So would you like to go with the usher, please?
I think.
She'll look after you. Right. 1 o'clock then, please. All right, happy to face a few more questions, I suspect. Yes, Mr. Robert?
Yes, sir.
A few, yes, good.
Very briefly. Can I just return, Mr. Alhaj Ali, to the calls that you had with your brother? When you were on the telephone to Muhammad, did he tell you whether he had seen any firefighters?
He told me I didn't see any firefighters.
Did he tell you where he was, where he'd been when you left the flat?
No, but he told me I am with the others, Zainab, her son, and Dennis, but he didn't tell me if it was bedrooms or living rooms.
Could I please have up, and again, if I just perhaps give the usual warning, I'm about to show you a photograph which is of essentially your flat door and the flat door of flat 111, which was taken before the fire. But if that is an image that may distress anybody, then they should take an opportunity to leave now, but I don't think anybody is, Mr. Chairman. But so can I have, please, IWS 401001 and then page 005, please. Mr. Alhaj Ali, a little earlier I asked you questions showing you a photograph of the lobby area on floor 6, and you told us about how you would go from the lifts to your own flat. And we can see your flat door here, 112, with the letterbox. Above it, you can see pipes which are at ceiling level. And can you tell us what you understood those pipes were for?
It was a gas pipes.
And I think in your statement, you say that you didn't have a gas supply to your flat, did you?
Yes.
It wasn't working at the time.
No, we had leaking.
But we can see, and please confirm, did the pipes go into your flat?
Yes, it went into my flat on the top of our door, the whole way to the corridor until the kitchen area.
Was there anything about the work that was done in putting those pipes through into your flat that caused you concern?
Yes, it was showing. We could see inside the flat, and then just the owner of the flat requested for that to be covered because it's very dangerous. It seems very dangerous showing, and they said we cannot do any works inside the walls because it will cause lots of damage. So we have to do it uncovered and showing.
So your concern was that the pipes were visible?
Yes, they were visible.
Can I turn then to the final matter that I want to put to you? And I want to begin by thanking you for coming to give evidence, and also thanking you for the witness statements that you've made. Putting aside the witness statements and the answers that you've given to my questions today, is there anything else about what you saw or heard on the night of the fire that you think it important to tell the chairman?
I just would like to say that I respect the firefighters, some of them who tried to rescue the people and tried their best. But actually, I don't understand why, for example, some of the firefighters like Peter Harara putting words into my mouth, which I didn't say, by saying I said no one else in the flat. I didn't search the flat. I didn't check if Muhammad left or not. So why should I say that? And he's my brother. So it's very hard to hear someone blaming you for the death of your best friends and neighbors, and he's my brother. How can I say that about him? He's just trying to blame me for not searching the flat by himself. And I'm sure that he didn't search the flat, and if he did, he would see everyone else. And I'm sure he didn't go inside any bedrooms or living room, because he would see everyone else. If my brother was praying, the rest they weren't, so he could see anyone else. And I just want to say that the death of everyone and my brother really changed my life completely. Just.
Thank you once again for coming to give evidence today. It's been very helpful.
Thank you.
Mr. Alhaj Ali, I'd like to add my thanks to those of Mr. Rawat. You obviously had a terrible experience and made all the worse by the death of your brother, and I'm very sorry for his death, and it'll take you a long time, I'm sure, to come to terms with it. I'm sorry we've had to ask you to go over it all again here in public, but it's very important that we have your evidence about what was happening in the building on the night in question, and so we're very grateful to you, and thank you very much for coming to tell us what you can.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're now free to go. If you'd like to go with the usher, she'll look after you.
Mr. Chairman, our next witness is scheduled for 2 o'clock.
Yes. Well, I think we could say 2:10, couldn't we? Because,
I won't object to that.
well, it's just that there are a lot of people who have to get some refreshment over the lunch hour, and if we start cutting into the lunch hour, it makes life difficult for them. So I'm sure our witness will understand, particularly if we apologise to him when we start him.
That will be done.
All right. 2:10, please.